Now on the Business Radio X network, just Ask the Gals. Social media solutions and education. Interesting show lined up for you today here with Mark Bishop. We do have a podcast on the Business Radio Network that's called Ask the Gals. Very popular podcast. A lot of people are into social media these days, but they're learning how to do it. So by listening to the podcast with Jessica and Lisa, they get a lot of questions answered, and, well, when they meet them personally, they are very surprised just how cute and cuddly these kids are, really. And that's what I call them. Welcome, guys, to Jessica Badowski.
Hi.
And Lisa Benson. How you doing, Lisa?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, today we're going to find out just exactly who these gals are. They're, in fact, Two Busy Gals. Jessica Badowski started Two Busy Gals with her sister originally, Alexis Chapman, back in, 2011?
2011.
In Ohio.
Yes.
Okay, so you're from Ohio originally?
Wait, 2008. I'm sorry. We started in 2008. I was like, wait, I'm doing the math wrong. We started in 2008.
Okay.
I'm not originally from Ohio. I'm actually from Western Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I'm from Indiana, PA, the home of Jimmy Stewart, which is one of our very proud...
Jimmy Stewart, the actor?
Yes.
Ah.
He was friends and played with my great uncle, actually. His family owned a hardware store.
It's a Wonderful Life guy?
It's a Wonderful Life guy.
It's a Wonderful Life guy. It was a beautiful movie.
Yes, they at the holidays they actually decorate the town after It's a Wonderful Life. They have a lot of tourists that come there related to that, and there's a Jimmy Stewart museum at the local library. A small town, but grew up there. My family, multi-generational, had been there.
So you're a Buckeye then?
No, the Buckeyes when we get to Ohio.
That's the state footy, isn't it? That's the state university.
Yes.
Graduate, being a Buckeyes.
Right. So
this is before then.
Exactly.
All right.
So I went to the State University in Indiana, Pennsylvania for undergraduate school. And then when I went to go for my master's, that's when I became a Buckeye. So in 91, I moved to Columbus, Ohio, and I lived there about 20 plus years.
Good place to live?
I don't know. I'm from Appalachia, so we don't move a lot. Like, if you move, you don't think about moving somewhere else. You just sort of go, here's where we are.
Here where we are.
Yeah. So I was in Columbus, went to graduate school, got early on jobs, went back to do some more schooling, did some more work. And I was there, until till about 40, 41.
Well, when we talk Appalachian, we talk mountains, aren't we?
Yes.
They're beautiful mountains.
They are.
I've never been there, but I've just seen them.
They're not as mountainous as it is here because they're an older mountain range. But yes, it's...
but very pretty.
Very pretty.
That's the difference. Lisa, your place wasn't pretty, Phoenix, but...
I hated Phoenix.
Oh, this little thing between Tucson and Phoenix. I grew up in a small farming community, actually, a place called Buckeye.
Yes.
Yeah. Both sides of your family worked in farming. Cotton, alfalfa, cattle, and they had huge vegetable gardens, lots of chickens and an occasional pig or a goat. Boy, that would seem such a long way from what you do now.
So, I grew up in Buckeye, born in Phoenix, and I never thought I would want to live in a small town again. I live in Vail now, so that's a small town near Tucson. Mm-hmm. So my grandmother and her mother went to high school at the same high school I went to. My mother went to that high school. My father went there. And then when I met my husband, his mother and all his aunts and uncles went to school at that same high school. It was very intimate. Everybody knew everybody else's business.
I was going to say so. It'd be pretty hard to get away from it, wouldn't
I don't think you could do anything and not have people know it with that much multi-generational.
But you did graduate from the University of Arizona back in 99 with a bachelor's degree in marketing.
Yes. I originally wanted to be an accountant. I liked numbers, and I did all the old bookkeeping, like for my dad's business with an actual book. He didn't have a computer. And I learned accounting on books and ledgers and all of that in high school. And I thought, oh, this is so much fun. And then I got to college and the computer threw me off. It's supposed to make your life easier, and I couldn't grasp it. I could not get the whole accounting on the computer thing, and decided marketing was where I wanted to go. I loved commercials when I was a kid. I knew all the jingles. I would stand in front of the mirror and do the toothpaste commercials at night when I brushed my teeth. And I just thought marketing was the way to go. So that was my...
That was the chosen career at the time. I mean, we're going to find out how you ended up in this. But now your husband, you're married, and you were married in 2000. You've got lots of dogs and a cat, several rabbits. This seems to follow on. You haven't lost this. Chickens, pigeons, quail, cockatiels, tortoises, and a fish.
Well, that's what I was saying. I didn't think I'd ever go to that farming life. And my daughter asked for a rabbit when she was 8 years old. And I said... No way, I don't want a rabbit, although secretly I've loved rabbits my whole life, too, and my mom never would let me have one. So I said, okay, you can get a rabbit as long as you join 4-H. And I know, Mark, you were asking me, what the heck is 4-H? Well, 4-H is a program for kids, and they take on a project or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 that stems from raising an animal. There's also other projects like STEM, and they do solar stuff and agriculture, growing plants and things like that. So I said to her, you have to get this rabbit and you have to learn everything about it by doing 4-H. So we got one rabbit. She did 4-H when she turned 9, and the rest is history. We have 20 rabbits now.
Good Lord. Well, I guess you can take the farm girl out of Buckeye, but not for the life of your daughters, for that matter. I mean, you can't take that out. You like to keep busy, Lisa. Recently nominated for the board of the Greater Vale Area Chamber of Commerce, and we'll add that to my busy work life. With 2 busy gals, I mean, volunteering as the rabbit coordinator for Pima County 4-H and the club leader and rabbit leader of the Little Rascals 4-H Club in Vale. Where do you get all the time?
I don't know.
Huh?
I need a little bit more time during the day.
I was going to say, are you full-time with 2 busy gals or working part-time?
Sometimes I'm full-time.
Sometimes, sometimes, some weeks it's full and some weeks it's less full.
Yeah.
So as an area manager, you worked in your last company, Lisa. What skills do you think you brought to 2 busy gals?
Well, my original job description for 2 busy gals was to network. And as the area manager of Roadrunner Auto Glass, I went all over Tucson, from Green Valley all the way up to Oro Valley and Catalina. And I just talked to people. I talked to everyone I knew. I went to networking meetings, and that's how I met Jessica. And so I was supposed to just go and meet people and bring business to 2 busy gals. And that's what I've been working on.
Okay. Well, I guess your personality would do that, because you've got a lovely personality.
Oh, thank you.
And that's what it's about, meeting people and chatting. I do notice, though, Jessica, two gals, as in the number 2. It's TOO gals.
Yes.
Right? 2 busy guys.
Yes.
You're very busy. We know that in Tucson and surround. What makes you so busy?
Well, so first of all, there's kind of a story behind the name of the business. So when we started, Alexis is my sister, and we both have chronic illnesses. And so we weren't able to do kind of traditional 9 to 5 anymore, but you still got to make a living.
Yeah.
So what we looked at, this was in 2008. And so when we started the business, my sister was selling makeup in a direct sale company. I was doing jewelry and handbags, and I was still doing my background is in nonprofit curriculum development, training, and management.
Right.
So I was still doing
wonderful background training.
Yeah. So I was still doing freelance nonprofit training. So that helped finance some of starting the business. But what happened was, when you sign up for a company, any direct sale company, which we highly support, they provide all of not just your product and your pricing, but they provide all your marketing materials. So, I know, Lisa, you avidly shop with direct sellers. So, it's if you meet like the lady from 31, her business card says she sells 31 gifts. If you meet the lady from Pampered Chef, her business card says she sells Pampered Chef. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, if I But when you do direct sale, you pay for all your networking, right? So Lisa was talking about going out and meeting people. So we go to a lot of networking meetings. And how many direct sale people have you met, Lisa?
Too many.
Yeah, a lot. So, but for example, they're paying their own money to go to networking meetings, right? So if you're selling one of these direct sale businesses, and it's $20 to go to a networking meeting, they pay the $20. So what we found out, I said, well, why am I going to pay $20 to make these corporations more knowledgeable, more known, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I want people to know me, but suppose next year I decide I don't want to sell purses and I spent all my time being known as the purse lady. Mm-hmm. And then next year I don't want to do purses anymore. Right? I'm out all that business investment.
That's right. Yeah, it's gone. Past tense.
Gone, right? So now I've got to get new cards and I've got to rebrand myself if I decide to change products.
Right.
And so I said, well, why don't we? And so I'm divorced and remarried, but my husband at the time was like, you guys are entirely too busy. You just run everywhere. You're so busy. You're too busy. You're just too busy.
Here we go.
And I went, too busy.
Too busy.
Yeah. Too busy what? Too busy. And then we went through a couple permutations of what we wanted the word to be. And we picked gals because it's like too busy gals. It was not something, you don't hear the word gal frequently. So we thought it made kind of a unique brand name. Mm-hmm. We also felt like it was a little retro. So our logo is very retro. It looks like 1950s. It looks like it's meant to look like a 1950s neon sign is what it's meant to look like.
Like one of those nice diners you see.
Yeah, it was exactly. And the gals were meant to be silhouette. And the only major change in the logo in the 11 years we've been in business was one of the silhouette women is holding what looks like a little briefcase. Well, it used to be a lot bigger. It was a shopping bag. And what we were saying was, you're too busy to go shopping. We're going to bring all these products to you. You can come and pick jewelry. You can pick makeup. You can pick skincare. You can pick handbags. You can pick all these products in one environment. And so that's kind of the history of how we got the name. And there's lots of stories. Lisa knows some of them too, of like feedback about the name. But one thing I will say is our brand is very well recognized in Tucson. We've worked hard on that. Mm-hmm. People know us as they're pink. The pink girls, two pink ladies, two pink, but they remember enough of the brand that if they talk to someone, they'll go, oh, you mean Two Busy Gals, Lisa, Jessica, Alexis, you know them.
Right. Two Busy Gals. So there you go. That's how all that came about.
Yep.
And it's good to have something like that because people remember off the top of their head. Now, one of your gigs, Lisa, before that, I think you worked for the Community Jewish Center, event rentals, right? What was that about?
So they wanted me to use my networking skills to go out and get people to come rent the space at the Tucson Jewish Community Center. And I don't think people realize it's not just for Jewish people. Anybody can go. They have beautiful gardens, a wonderful ballroom. They have a terrace, all kinds of space that you can use for parties.
Private functions and that type of thing.
We did
right.
Zumba-thons. We did
all of that.
All kinds of fun stuff there. So my job initially was to bring people in, and it just got to be too much. We were getting too much. So then I started becoming the event manager, and I started managing the events there too.
Well, no doubt that gave you good experience in communications too with
Absolutely.
people and so on. What is it you think that excites you about your current position?
As Jessica mentioned, one of the reasons they started Two Busy Gals is their chronic illness. I also have migraines, and I can't work in the traditional office environment. So being able to and knowing that if I get sick or if I'm not feeling well, I still can work is always a big plus for me. Mm-hmm. So it's been really nice that I know I can work at home on the days that I'm not feeling as well. But yet the excitement for me of this job is getting out and teaching people about what we do and how we can help them.
It's a specialized industry. I mean, is there a favorite part of the job that you like when you're doing that with people? Do you get a lot of, social media is so misunderstood.
Very.
Right. And do you find yourself a lot of the time explaining that away?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when I started, I watched Jessica. I took some of her classes, and I actually used her product in my last company with Roadrunner. And I thought, I could never do that. I'm never going to know as much as Jessica knows about everything with social media. And yet, through her teaching and through my own learning, because we do read a lot and we take little webinars and stuff, I've learned to love teaching. And I didn't think I could stand up in front of people and talk, because our classes are 90 minutes long. And I find that I'm running out of time. Oh, there's more. I have more to tell you. I have more I want to help you with. And that, to me, has become my favorite part of this job.
Now, you run these classes, okay? Let me understand. Let me visualize this. We're in an area like what? How many seats, as an example?
So the one location, we can have pretty comfortably 15 people around a large conference table.
Would we call that a small group, 15?
Well, actually, we purposefully do not do our monthly class larger than 15. And the reason for that is we do large scale presentations. If an organization wants us to talk, we've spoken to 150 people.
Okay, so this is more on the presentation side. But when it's the hands-on teaching,
when it's hands-on, we don't do more than 15.
Sounds like it's better to control smaller groups then, doesn't it?
Well, the other thing we find is we want, so there's a really common business practice called masterminds. And in a mastermind, what mostly you do is everyone sits around a table. There's a facilitator, but people would be sharing with each other and supporting each other. And so we want to be able, if there's less than 15 people as a trainer, you can pretty easily remember everyone's business. So say we go around the room and Lisa says, oh, I work for, say she said she worked for a window cleaning company. We've had like 3 window cleaning companies come to classes. I guess I want to know more about marketing window cleaning.
Right.
So she is a window cleaning company, and the other person is LaDawn. She does gift baskets, LaDawn Shockley. And then we have another person, and they're selling Legal Shield. And we have another person. If you have 15 people, you can pretty easily remember each person's business. So as we're teaching, we can go, well, this is how you would use it, right? So they get specific attention to their type of business, and we can customize the training while we're doing it to who's in the room.
Well, that's a great idea. That's much better than a generic form of teaching, trying to remember everything, take copious amounts of notes. Then you get home and you've got to relay it all to your business.
Right.
Now, the types of businesses you're talking about, they seem like very small one-off or two-person type businesses, but they're the ones that can make a lot of money online too. Sure. That's the thing, right? If it's marketed correctly.
Absolutely.
And they do correct social media. Is it easy to learn with you in those groups when people want to start from scratch?
Well, Lisa, we've had a number of online reviews, both on Facebook and Google. What do you find people tell you? Because you're out a little bit more to hear from people. We get a lot of, if you go to a meeting and they have a point in networking meetings, we're like, oh, can you give a shout out to somebody? We often get shout outs about our classes where people are like, you should go to this. We learned a lot.
Right.
But you have a little bit more with that than I do.
So speaking on the whole starting out thing, I think people come to our class thinking they're going to get help to start up, and then they realize, oh my gosh, there's so much more to social media than I thought. And so with those people, I like to sit down one-on-one with them and start them from scratch. I help them set up their account. I help them set up their page so that it looks good and looks nice and conveys the information that they need it to convey.
All right. Now let's just go back a little bit, because let's say there's some real sparkling brand newies listening right now.
Okay.
What's the startup? What page are we talking about?
Most of them, it's going to be Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they, when Lisa says like she sits down with them, that's another product separate from our classes. It's our one-on-one coaching.
Okay.
And that's where someone from our team goes out and sits down with the person and helps them set it up. Now, some businesses just hire us outright to do it. They don't want to sit down one-on-one.
This is setting up their Facebook page.
Sure.
Right? Nothing yet to do with all the Twitter birdies and the Instagrammies and none of this yet?
No.
Okay, strictly that. Because that seems to be still the most powerful one.
Yeah.
When it comes to Facebook and what have you. Otherwise, I just see people saying, hey, here we are at the barbecue. You should join us.
Yeah.
That's social media.
Yes. So the other one is LinkedIn. A lot of people just want that networking aspect of it, a lot more business to business.
Okay.
So we sit down with them too. So as far as your question about what do people think and what are people saying, they love our class when they've got that set up. So if they're new to it but have already set it up, they come in and they come away with so much information on where they need to go from nothing. So
well, normally in your show on Tucson Business Radio X, which is, by the way, coming to you live from the Stewart Title building here on Broadway in Tucson, and of course podcast forever on our network. The shows you normally do are hands-on style of teaching type shows, and it's very powerful. I was somewhere the other night, I forget where I was, but I was just I was standing at the bar getting a drink to go back to my table with somebody, and this fellow made a comment. He said, I've been listening to the Two Busy Gals because my daughter loves them. She's learning everything from them. And sometimes I listen too. And I thought, oh, well, good. That's great to hear. You never know who's going to listen and where.
Exactly.
But people, some people are visual. Some are audio, some are hands-on, and so you must get them all when you
do.
We do.
And how do you handle them all? How do you, adjudicate between all the different styles?
Sure. That's a great question. And I think that goes back to Lisa's background in training and my background in training. The training you develop should address all those styles. So, for example, if you came and sat in one of our trainings, the first thing you would notice is we always have handouts of some sort. We always have somewhere to take notes. We frequently have things like candy and little toys on the table. And part of that is because kinesthetic learners need to be moving and doing something while they're learning. So a piece of candy helps for that, or what they call like a little fidget toy on the table, just some little doodad that they can fidget with. So that addresses kinesthetic learners. So part of how we set up our learning environment addresses those learners. Of course, there's a lecture feature, so audio people do fine with that. We always have visuals, a combination of either a PowerPoint presentation, but we've started moving a little bit away from the PowerPoint because what we find is really valuable is if we're able to show the platform. So say we are showing them LinkedIn. We have a computer attached to a projector, and we actually go on the web to a LinkedIn profile and update things that they can see what it looks like. We encourage people to bring their own equipment, and that seems to work really well. Lisa, what have you noticed about that?
It works great because most of us nowadays have our passwords and usernames memorized in our devices. So it's pretty easy for them to just log on their own. They're familiar with it, so they know how to navigate it. And well, for the most part.
For the most part, not all of them. Sometimes we do have students that don't remember their password or know how to navigate their tablet.
My hands up on that one.
Yeah.
I have a lot of trouble with that. In fact, I was looking at something the other day. I think it's called iGet. It's an extension of something or other, but I think it's got to the stage where I need to get something that you can put all your passwords in.
Sure.
Because I just forget, no matter what.
Right.
And bits of scribble and paper around the place. But if you change them and you forget, then you have to change the darn things.
Again.
It's
much easier to change them than it used to be. See, we've been doing this for 11 years. So 10 years ago, it was not as easy to change your password, the number of verifications. I think the platforms have realized people just can't remember them and they need to change them.
It's 2019. We talk about 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Was social media even in the vocabulary then?
Oh, so this is kind of interesting. Because remember I said we started out selling stuff?
Yes, 2008.
2008. So for about a year, we're both nervous as heck, Alexis and I. Like, what do we know about starting a business? How many lipsticks can we sell? Can we sell enough lipsticks to live on? Those kind of real questions, right? Yeah. God love my mother who was helping us because she would, help us pay some bills. And I'm still running around doing nonprofit training and figuring it out. And so what happened was We did. In fact, I have to go find it. So Facebook gives you memories, right? Like, I mean, it doesn't give you memories, but I mean, it says, here's your memory from an old post.
It does. You know, very smart marketing on their behalf.
Oh, yeah.
You get this incredible thing with balloons and God knows what. And,
yes.
And your face is in there with somebody else that years ago you started a friendship with.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
so
you might want to see him again, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Sometimes they're exes that come up. It's like less than desirable. But anyways, so we actually in 2009 did our first photo shoot for Two Busy Gals, and we posted the photo shoot on Facebook because the memory just came up. It was like, it was said 9 years ago, blah, 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 blah. And I thought, wow, so we were using Facebook. I don't think and Twitter. We used Facebook and Twitter at the beginning when we started our business as a business tool. So Twitter, we weren't marketing our business, but Twitter was a great way for me to get business training. I followed about 10 people who did marketing, who talked about startup businesses, how to be an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And I could read through Twitter because it'll have a little link and then you click and it goes to their blog or it goes to their podcast or it goes to their article. And so that was part of my professional development. And then we were posting things on Facebook because, of course, we were using it personally. There wasn't a business page per se yet, but we were using it personally and we were connecting with people. So anyone who has ever sold anything that's direct to customers, right? You make mugs, you sell lipstick for Mary Kay, whatever you do, you have to go out to events, right? You go to vendor events, you get a table, you get a tent. We try to not do that anymore because we don't want to be out in the heat. I'm older and I don't want to sit out in the heat.
Well, they're still popular though, aren't they?
They're very popular.
On a weekend, somewhere for people to go browse around.
I don't mind going. I just don't want to sit at a tent at one for 7 hours.
No, I don't blame you. It's like doing a trade show.
Exactly. It is exactly like a trade show.
Oh, yeah. It can be. Very much so.
Which now we do vendor booths as a trade show, right? So we're more likely to go to a trade show with our company because we're business to business. But then we were trying to sell to consumers. And so we would post things on Facebook, where we were, et cetera, et cetera. And people asked us, we were going to networking groups and a lady came and spoke about LinkedIn. And I didn't really care for how she trained on it. And I didn't feel like some of what she told us was accurate. Remember, I'm reading those people on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And then I said, well, we use it and we use it this way. And then people asked us to train. They're like, hey, can you help me? You're sitting at a lunch table or something. It's like, well, hey, can you help me with this? So then someone said, well, could you speak to our group on this? So remember, I've got that training background and I'm in nonprofits and I've trained and I've spoke. And I'm like, well, I can speak on this.
Okay.
Right? Why do I strike you as a person who doesn't think they could speak on things?
If you're comfortable with something, why not?
Yeah. And I'm kind of a blabber on person anyways, so might say. My grandpa said I was vaccinated with a phonograph needle.
No comment.
No comment. He also said if you tied my hands down, I wouldn't be able to talk because I do gesticulate a lot. He was like, he's like, if we tie your hands down, you'll be able to talk. I'm like, leave me alone, Grandpa.
There you go.
Anywho, so I thought, well, is this a business? Like, could we build this into a business? But we knew we didn't have the technical information yet. So you're right. It was burgeoning. Corporations were using it.
Days, yeah.
Large marketing companies had computer programmers. Today we just, Lisa will sit down with you in an hour. You know how to put an ad on Facebook. Right?
Well, no one ever really thought it would become so powerful as a tool where it has absolutely taken over in society. I mean, people walking down the street, people in restaurants, no matter where you go, there's a head buried in the phone.
Sure.
Now, they're not all just sending emails to people.
No.
They're looking at pretty pictures. Or they're looking at lions tear off a jackal's head or whatever. I mean, it's unbelievable what is online today. And that's where people seem to be going for their entertainment.
Absolutely. What do you think about that, Lisa? Because we have kids that are like, my kids are on teens, and they are video watching all the time.
Do you think it's a good thing, though? Do you think that's a good thing? We're not going to stop them, are you, unless you tell them no.
Next month we're going to be talking to a few teenagers about social media on this show. So I think I have mixed feelings about it. I know there are parents who are like, absolutely not, you can't use it, but I see it as a learning experience. My daughter can go Google anything she needs to learn about her rabbits and her chickens and everything else. She's got a community of people on Facebook in a group with her that she
No. How old is your daughter?
She's 15.
Oh, okay. Real teenager.
Yep. She can go and find out reliable information from people who are experienced and who have experienced certain things, like why is my chicken's eye watering, or why is my rabbit not eating its food?
But do you have blocks on all of this, though, as a parent? I mean...
I have access to her Facebook, so I go in regularly and I check and see what
does
she's
she know
doing.
This?
She does.
Okay, so there's
and I will ask her, who is this? Why are you talking to this person?
Mm-hmm.
So
wow.
I think it's a good tool. I learned a lot of stuff myself.
A lot of kids wouldn't take that, would they? They'd be storming out the house, wouldn't they?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, looking at my private stuff and all the rest of it. But that's the danger of today. That's the real danger.
Sure.
And I think as a parent, you do the right thing. You're entitled to. You're the mother.
Exactly.
And you are, looking out. You look too young to be 15-year-old, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Look like a kid yourself, don't you? Listen, tell me about businesses. I know we talk about a lot of small businesses, but you also do corporate. But do you only do Arizona, or do you have clients out of Arizona?
No. So fortunately, we had clients out of Arizona. So we started the business in Ohio, and we moved it to Arizona. So Arizona, particularly southern Arizona, has a very unique way of doing business. I suppose a lot of locales have that. Mm-hmm. When we were in Ohio, we had contracts for companies in Florida, New York, a number in the D.C. area, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. So obviously large cities were early adopters, right? So you were saying who was using it, right? So large companies and also large cities were getting onto it first. And of course we did classes, and we had some small things in Columbus, Ohio. It's a smaller city, a little bit bigger than Tucson, but small. It's one of those, a smaller city in Ohio.
About 500,000.
Yeah, I think they're at like 1 or 2, but they're not like, it feels very similar to Tucson to me.
See, Tucson and surrounds gives us the million.
Right.
But Tucson itself, I think, is only about 460, 500,000,
So when I moved the business, so I moved here for health reasons. So again, and I actually want to talk about, just remind me later to talk about, we're really coalescing around a certain mission in our expansion as a company. We've expanded since we've been out here. So I want to speak to that.
Well, I do have a question about what's on the horizon for you, so we'll touch on it then.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
What I want to sound, go on, finish this off.
But I was just going to say, so when we moved here the first year, I didn't have any customer. For a year and a half, I didn't have any customers in Ohio. We struggled. I thought, I'm going to have to go get a regular job. Like, instead of being an entrepreneur, I don't know how to make this work. So thankfully, we had those customers still all across the country, because you can virtually work for them. Sometimes we fly, and not unusually, Alexis, we have a client, she flies regularly to San Francisco to meet with them and work with them. But I was really scared that first year and a half. I couldn't break into the market. I didn't understand how it worked. And so fortunately, someone I met at a networking meeting invited me to do a presentation. It was a mortgage company, and they do a lot of workshops they pay people to speak, but they do workshops for realtors, right? Because if I'm a mortgage company, I want realtors to come to me. And they said, would you do a workshop? And I said, oh, I sure would. What do you want to pay? I'd be glad to. And that was kind of the first risk someone took on me in this market. Now we're very well known. We're very, I would almost say, entrenched. We have a number of clients in this market. But we've also expanded. We have a client that we work with periodically, not monthly, in Morocco. We have a client that is dual national. They are a fruit manufacturer or fruit producer. So they grow in Mexico. They export from Mexico to the U.S., and they distribute from their company in the U.S. is a distribution company. So we can work with any size. We've worked with very large manufacturing corporations. We've worked with restaurant chains where they had, 30, 40 restaurants, and we wrote the content and managed it.
Well, one would think that you could be very diversified.
Absolutely.
In doing what you do. You're not limited, really.
No.
To specific clients.
No.
You're listening to Jessica Badowski and Lisa Benson. They're two busy gals, indeed, and this is their podcast, but this is a special hosted by Mark Bishop for today and forever, because this stays on forever on the network. But we're finding out the other side of the gals, what makes them tick and why their podcast is so successful. And it's on every month, their show, and they have very interesting guests, and they teach on their podcast as well. And it's coming to you live from the Stuart Title Studio on Broadway. So what's on the horizon for Two Busy Gals. And by the way, the podcast is called Ask the Gals.
It's called Ask the Gals, yes.
But for Two Busy Gals, where are we going next?
Where aren't we going, Lisa? That should be the question.
I think every day we call each other and have some idea of the great new thing that we want to do. It doesn't always get done, but
we're very creative. I think we have a very creative work environment, and we're open to a lot of ideas. Lisa was the first. So my sister and I ran the company for many, many years. Lisa's coming up on her second anniversary this fall, and she was the first person. Other than we do contract with, a graphic designer. We contract with some content writers. We contract. Okay. So we have those kind of relationships. But someone who was really part of the team that was representing us, she was the first person to bring on board. Well, she was the first person that worked out to bring on board. I should qualify. We tried that with some people that were doing multiple things, and it didn't work very well. Mm-hmm. Lisa we say she's our extra new sister because it just feels like she's family, and we are a family-owned business. So what's new on the horizon? Well, we just brought on 2 new people, and their role is going to be to do networking. There's a couple markets in town that we're not hitting as frequently as we need to. That's why I didn't do well that first year and a half, because you got to really be out there, and you can't just sort of go once every 3 or 4 months to a chamber. You need to go every month. Mm-hmm. It's just very common in this market. So we brought on 2 more people to do more networking, because Lisa is going to be taking over more. I tended to do a lot of the coaching and training. So Lisa has slowly moved into that role, mm-hmm. which is freeing up my time. We are becoming certified as a women-owned business so that we can go after corporate accounts that want to have diversity in their supply chain.
Now, let's talk about how we do this, because it's interesting. I mean, you're all about online and mm-hmm. about social media marketing. Mm-hmm. But you see, just like the bricks and mortar stores and the originality of all business, basically, you still have to hot it out there on your feet and go get the business.
Absolutely.
To be able to then do what you do well
yes.
online.
Yes.
My question would be, why can't you find these clients then just online?
Well, one of the challenges and Lisa, jump in, please. One of the challenges we find is people start a business and they're like, well, if I put this information online, then people are going to want to engage with me. They'll want to be customers. They'll want to come buy it. So first of all, you have to figure out who your ideal customer and market is, and is that how they make purchasing decisions, right? So there's sort of a myth that I came up with this magical pen that does something no other pen does. I took a video of it, I posted on Facebook, and I sold 1 million of them. Okay. That is not how social media works. It doesn't work that way at all. Mm-hmm. Those are anomalies. So that's sort of like the person that became a multimillionaire and they started selling cars. You know what I mean? Well, they would have done, if whatever they did, they would have been that anomaly. Okay. What social media is really good for is it is where, yes, people can become aware that you exist, but they need to be looking for what you offer, and they need to be looking for you. And depending on the market, in Southern Arizona, it is absolutely a personal recommendation market. Now, we know in sales, personal recommendation is the most powerful referral to get business. Southern Arizona, from my experience from living in 2 different markets and having the same business, requires much more person-to-person meeting and many more of them.
Why is that, do you think?
I don't really know. I mean,
What is it about Southern Arizona that makes it that way? Is it non-trust or something, do you think? Or
it's just, I think it's just much slower to make a decision. And so there needs to be a lot of, it's not, know, like, and trust, if you're in New York City, is a 30-minute meeting. I either know, like, and trust you and I close the business, or I don't. Mm-hmm. You're not following up, Mm-hmm. Here, I've had clients that we followed up with for over a year before we closed it. Now, not to come to a $30 monthly training, okay, but an actual contract for a year, thousands of dollars a month.
I don't think you could last if that's what it took for the outcome.
Right.
A year to get $30.
yeah, that would not be a good, that means you have a product that's not worth being in business for.
All right.
So it just takes a long time. It's a lot of relationship building. And we're very clear that, quite frankly, the classes we offer, we actually consider our monthly class part of our marketing effort. Because 10 people in a class at $30 a person is not a sustainable business model.
It's got to cover the rental and the sandwiches and God knows what else that you put on.
Right.
You're doing something right. What's the Crystal Award that you've won as a rising star, a high flyer award? What is that about?
Oh, we're so excited about that. The Vail Chamber of Commerce is up and coming. Vail is one of the largest growing areas in southern Arizona. Jessica and I both have kids in the school district out there, so it's very close to our hearts as far as the community is concerned.
It is starting to grow. I know people who went out there when it was just the chickens and the eggs and then all that. Now they're getting out of Vail because it's getting too busy.
It is. So Vail Chamber had their gala, first annual gala, and award ceremony to give awards to people in the area that are making a difference and making a change. So as two busy gals, we've been a part of the Vail Chamber for several years now and have helped as much as we can. We've been willing to do classes and give discounts for them and everything else. And so we were awarded the Rising Star Award.
Very nice. Very good. Well, congratulations on that.
We're pretty excited about that. I just want to carry the crystal plaque around everywhere, but it's not practical. I did take it to our immediately following class and put it on the registration table after we won it. I was like, we won.
In the news.
Like a movie star award ceremony or something. It was really neat.
Oh, very good. Very good.
You didn't know in advance. So,
red carpet and all, huh?
Yeah, they described the award, and I'm like, so someone won. I was like, I know we were nominated, but do you think we'll win? I don't know. And then they don't tell you who else was nominated, but they describe the award, and they're like, well, you might know these two ladies, and I'm like, oh, it's us. I think it's us. And I'm like, well, who else would it be?
Who else could it be? The changes that are happening now with Facebook, with all the stuff that's happened with the government and this and that, where do you see the future now going with what you're trying to teach and the up-and-coming entrepreneurs of tomorrow who are going to want to use online? Do you see massive changes coming?
So, again, we've been doing this for 11 years. And when I say we've been doing this for 11 years, when Alexis and I started this, a number of people you can meet in marketing have decided to add social media. You'll see a lot of people in the marketplace that maybe they're really good at Instagram personally. And so then some people say, hey, you should teach classes on this. You could teach people how to do it. But they didn't necessarily look at it from a business standpoint. So I remember when Pinterest came out in beta form and everyone was like, is this thing are people really going to use this? I remember the year we spent wondering, was Pinterest going to hang around?
All right, here's what we're going to do, okay? Because there are listeners who haven't got a clue what you're talking about.
Sure.
That's me. Here's the deal. Let's just talk about Facebook firstly. In 30 seconds, what does it do?
Facebook provides an easy place for your target market to vet you and find out what you're about.
So Facebook gives you the opportunity to put photographs, business photographs, social photographs, videos,
links to
articles, content writing, all of this jazz, right?
Sure.
Now, somehow or other, we get it to somebody who gets to know us, gets to trust us, and then they might do business with us.
Sure.
All right? That's Facebook.
Well, quite frankly, if I meet you or I hear about your business and I go to the internet and your website's kind of and you're not even on Facebook, which it's really, it's free for you to make a business profile.
Right.
I don't think you're a legitimate business.
It's got that way, has it now?
Yeah.
But if you're not, wow, okay. Number 2, Instagram.
Sure.
Okay, Instagram. To me, it sort of says, here's a telegram now.
That was their intention.
Okay, so what is it?
All right. So Instagram is an app. You have to use it from your phone. There are a few other options, but they're a little more difficult and you'd have to have a lot of training to do them. It requires an image or a video. It can't just be words. It could be words on a graphic, but it can't just be, I'm going to type something in.
It must be visual.
There must be something visual.
All right.
And again, how do businesses use it? If you are so for example, we do social media marketing. there's not a lot of really interesting things to make a post to put on Instagram. And quite frankly, businesses looking for our service are not looking for our service on Instagram. Not all businesses are appropriate for all platforms.
Well, if this Instagram gives you the visual opportunity, it's almost like an ad, like a commercial.
Sure.
So, but it wouldn't be a 30 or a 60 seconder, would it? Like television.
You can do up to I think they've gone up to 2 minutes now, but you can do a minute video on it. Yes,
really?
You can. Mm-hmm.
On Instagram. Mm-hmm. And that's free?
Yep.
And that fires off from where? Your phone?
Sure. So you're going to have the video through your phone. So if you created it somewhere else, you'd send it to your email on your phone, and then you'd download it, and then you'd upload it to Instagram. And that's where it starts getting complex for people who don't have the Marks of the world, who are like, oh my God, where is this thing on my phone?
Technically.
Yes.
But from a marketing perspective, I'm not an idiot. Now, what tells me is that's a great product.
Sure.
You know, I can send visual.
Sure.
To somebody,
Absolutely.
15 seconds or 30 seconds, and now you're telling me a minute. Mm-hmm. And I can direct that to what, a database of clients?
No, you're just posting it, and they would need to come find you. If you wanted to direct it, you'd have to pay and purchase the advertising options that they offer.
All righty, so there's always, that makes sense now. All right, so Pinterest or
Pinterest.
That one will do.
Interest with a pin. Pinterest. So, for example, we were in business when Instagram came along, and I went, oh, I don't know. We'll see. You know, we were in business when Pinterest came along. So Pinterest, one of the things that we know about Pinterest is the number one driver of web conversion from a social media platform. So Facebook, Instagram, they really just want you to hang out on their platform and look at stuff. They don't want you to click through and leave and go to a website. All right. And they create their format so that it's challenging for you to do that. Pinterest is it's visual. It's not, I think, can you do videos on it?
They are adding videos.
They're adding videos.
I always thought it was just still photographs.
But it's still photographs.
And if you found something you liked,
and you click the picture.
You click the picture.
Ideally, it's going to immediately take you to a website where you can purchase it. So it has that immediate it's designed for you to make purchasing decisions.
So it's like an immediate funnel.
Yes.
Basically. Yes. All right.
It's like it's creating that click-through funnel without you having to pay for the click-through funnel.
That's 4. What have we left out?
You left out LinkedIn and Twitter.
LinkedIn and Twitter. LinkedIn, to me, my era was where you may have gone looking for work.
Correct.
It was a wonderful medium for jobs that were advertised.
Sure.
Now, that's not the same anymore with LinkedIn, or is it?
It's still used for that. It's a great tool for finding a job or finding an employee if you're a business, but it's also become a great networking tool. So people can go on LinkedIn and talk about their industry, more business to business. I can go check out their business by looking at them on LinkedIn. I could be in a room full of people at a networking meeting. Maybe I don't want to get as personal as Facebook with them, but I want to be connected with them professionally.
Okay.
So I would go to LinkedIn. I would find them on LinkedIn, maybe send them a private message and say, hey, it was nice meeting you at this networking event. I look forward to working with you.
And that's all private. When you send the messages like that, it's not open to the world. Mm-hmm. So it's used really as a communications tool.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you're going to convey information about your business more so and qualify yourself. Why are you qualified to be their contact person at this business?
Okay. And last but not least,
Twitter
was good old Tweety Bird.
So Twitter is extremely powerful in the news realm, right? So things travel very fast. It moves very fast. If you wanted to build relationships with the press, reporters, TV press, newspaper press, you would absolutely want to have a Twitter account because every single person in journalism has a Twitter account and they post regularly. And it's a way to build relationships. You follow their account. They might follow you back. You're able to interact with them. It's a really good way. If for some reason your business makes sense to have interactions with celebrities and brands, But for most people and most companies, the other thing would be almost every large scale convention you go to will have most of its activity on Twitter. They're going to have a particular hashtag, and most of the activity of a convention is going to be on Twitter because it's so fast.
So a news event could happen.
Yes.
If you've signed up or you're in the lineup to be able to get a tweet. Right. Or a twit from somebody. Tweet from a twit.
Maybe a tweet from a twit. There's quite a few tweets from twits.
Okay.
A lot.
The reality is, boom, it turns up right there on my computer.
Yes.
And I've noticed with photographs too.
Sure. Photographs and videos. You can have links. You do have a limit to characters, but you can have links that go out to other places. So if I wanted to put a link to this podcast in a Twitter announcement, in a tweet on Twitter, I could do so.
Very powerful tool, I think.
It's very powerful. It is it very much flattens the pyramid to getting in contact with influencers and higher decision makers. We have a client, they write frequently, they have books and they're on Forbes and other places. And we were able through people who followed them and to get them leads to corporation and corporate accounts that they did not have access to.
Right. And I have noticed too that, a classic example, we don't normally do politics, but we'll leave it at this. The current president, if he doesn't have media to report anything that he's saying, that how he'd like it distributed, or any prime minister, any president for that matter,
any public figure,
this Twitter is a way of getting out, as long as you've got the addresses to send to.
Well, you're posting it. And it would have to be people had chosen to follow you to see it.
That's the follow component of it all.
Right.
If I follow you, then I will receive
your information,
your tweets.
But for example, last night, someone I follow posted, so this has nothing to do with anything except pop culture. Okay, so there's a show called Lip Sync Battle. It's on Spike TV, and LL Cool J hosts it, and Chrissy Teigen does the DJing. So it's famous celebrities come and compete against each other lip syncing. Okay. So someone I follow for political stuff, news information, they're a thought leader, right? Shared a link to a video that was on this show, which I actually happen to like the show, but I don't follow the show. I don't watch the show. I just know of it.
Okay.
They post the link. It shows the preview with a picture. It's the gentleman who has played Spider-Man in all of the most recent Avenger movies. His name is, I'm not going to remember his name. Doesn't matter. But young guy is an actor. So when he did this lip sync battle, he dressed like Rihanna, who's a singer, and did Under My Umbrella in this full dance routine that's just so stunning. I had to show it to my husband later. And then, of course, what happened is once I clicked the video, I'm like, oh, I forgot I like this show. So it's taking me to YouTube, right, where the video shows. Now, this guy's not getting anything from it. He just liked it. He's a fan, right? So he doesn't actually inherently get anything from it. But because this guy liked it and shared it, and I follow him, I see the video. Now to click and watch it, I'm on YouTube. So what's YouTube do? It's bringing up previews of other ones. I'm like, I forgot I like this show. Oh, let's watch some more of these. Oh, this is season 1 where they just had 2 famous people sing, but they don't have all the production value.
Well, sounds like a hell of a tool for a network that doesn't normally have many viewers or listeners.
Right.
Used correctly.
Right.
It promotes it, doesn't it?
Sure.
So do you teach all of these platforms, that they are platforms?
Yes, they're platforms.
Do you teach them all in your, lunchtime thingos that you do?
Lisa does.
Presentations? You do all that, Lisa?
No.
I'm trying to have her do all that.
I'm working on it.
Is there a need for all of them, or do you just stick with Facebook?
No, there's a need for all of them.
There's a need. And the people that go there are not just people for the hell of it. They're in business.
Sure.
Whether it be small, medium, or large, and want to learn once and for all how they can be hands-on or understand if they're paying somebody to do it.
Absolutely.
Because that's even better.
We always encourage people when they come. One of the things we encourage people is if you're outsourcing this, I've told people for over 10 years, you may do business with us, you may not do business with us, but please don't spend money on social media help or some sort of digital wonder guru that you click this button and you're going to make money. Before you invest, could you please call us? We will for free tell you, because we know what's in the industry, right? We know what the pricing is.
Well, they're out there.
Yeah.
Well, there's so much stuff on the internet, and I know a lot of it's scam, and it's heartbreaking, but there's a lot of people who do believe and get sucked in. It used to be so much about, look, build a business, make a lot of money online, flog stuff, be an affiliate. But today, there's also stuff for copywriting, content. There's stuff for marketing.
Absolutely.
There's software, push this button, and that button will not only make the coffee, but the eggs and the bacon as well.
Sure.
You know, and you've got to be so careful.
And you wait a
there.
long time. We just, in the last 6 months, purchased. So, I mean, even, the good old days where you bought software and you had the disk and you put it in your computer and then you put it in the other computer and then you bought a new computer and you put it in that. Now everything's in the cloud. I hate it. Mm-hmm. And you buy subscriptions. So the amount of money we pay for software now is astronomical. I hate looking at that.
So they're the ones
accountant.
making the money now in this industry are the software developers.
Sure,
right?
because everything's $10 a month, $20 a month, $100 a month. And there's no other way. There's nothing else to do.
You can't buy it outright and be done with it. But then again, there's updates you've got to get and all of this, But we just purchased, we've waited a long time to purchase some sort of video software because I did not want to invest the money myself or paying someone to learn something that was complicated. It had to be very user friendly. Yeah, I've just seen something I'm doing because I've had a few client requests that they'd like to go to video on their shows here on the Business Radio Network. And not everybody wants it. Some people are a little shy, but I think it would be a great thing to do. And the hardest part, of course, is being able to, mix it all and do this and that. And if you hire somebody, but there is stuff coming out that is basically all self-control. It's pretty amazing.
There's 4 or 5 softwares that are out and people can easily look up, do it yourself.
And you're getting it, though, using your phone, no doubt, where you put it literally in a spot?
No, this is desktop.
This is desktop?
Yeah, this is a desktop because you, to do the full editing suite in it, you have to do it on the desktop.
Right.
The one that we got.
Okay, so that's that. And then, there's others with cameras where you just switch in between on desktop as well.
Yes.
There's that. I mean, there's lots of stuff. All righty. Well, look, we're nearly closing. I want to ask you if you had to, share your vision all over again for Two Busy Gals anyway. This is the company we're talking about. For Two Busy Gals, would there have been a different direction you would have taken now that you know what you know now? I know hindsight's perfect, but when you look back.
I think what we would have done is we would have been more aggressive sooner. My advice to people starting business is I would say the first 5 years we were in business, I don't even know if I would call us a business. I would say we were 2 freelance consultants just getting some gigs. Mm-hmm. We existed technically as a business, but I feel that we're very clear. We knew we started the business because we both had chronic illnesses, but I never thought of that as a mission until one of the new people we brought on, she has a permanent disability that's not going to get any better. And so she has to have a certain kind of work in limited hours. So we're very clear that our vision and our mission is to create a work environment where people with health or physical limitations can still have a really fun and exciting career.
Yeah, so they should be able to as well.
In a workplace that's not going to say, I mean, Lisa knows, I don't expect her to get in a car and drive to a networking meeting when she has a full-on migraine. You know what I mean?
No, they're terribly painful and very understandable. And you don't mind me asking what you're
it's rheumatoid arthritis. It's an autoimmune
and it's very
condition.
Painful. Can be very painful.
There's high fatigue. So ideally, yes, you want to get to all of your outreach events.
Right.
But a lot of what you can do working at Two Busy Gals can be done in PJs, on a laptop, in a recliner. Nobody cares, And I want to be the kind of employer where people who have a health condition, that's not, sometimes you feel like you have to be very private. You can't tell your employer. You do the work when you're sick anyways. Our vision and mission at this point very clearly is to grow our company, to be an employer that it doesn't matter what your physical capabilities are or challenges, that you can have a really rewarding professional career with us.
and that's a good thing. When is your next, do you have them every Monday of the month or something? Or I'm talking about the training
The classes,
ones.
the local classes.
I think they're fabulous. I'd love to go to one myself one time.
Our classes are the third Tuesday of every month at 2:30 in the afternoon.
Okay.
Over at the SCORE office at 1400 West Speedway Boulevard.
All right. The third Tuesday of every month. All right. At the SCORE office, right?
At the SCORE office. Mm-hmm.
Topics change each month. So we have Pinterest coming up. We just taught an evening class in the summer. We like to do summer
you've got the
classes.
time. It's daylight. Let's beat the heat type thing. And third Tuesday, I got that. But what was the address again of SCORE?
1400 West Speedway Boulevard.
1400 West Speedway Boulevard. So listen, if you're listening and you think, what the heck, I really want to push myself once and for all. They're terrific girls. They're very, what's the word, user-friendly, encouraging. They're not going to bite your head off or snap at you. They're very understanding from what I've heard anyway, and it must be a wonderful way to learn hands-on.
That's the
Nothing
critical
better,
thing. The classes are hands-on. We tell people bring your own equipment, bring your own tablet, your laptop, your phone. In fact, when we do the one-on-ones, we go to their location because you need to know how to use it on your own stuff.
Of course you do.
Yeah, so they can find all our classes on not Twitter, but you could find it on Facebook, you could find it on LinkedIn, and our website. So it's www.TOO.BusyGals.
Two busy gals.
We want to make sure you're not too busy.
Yeah, and then it's Ask the Gals with their podcast every month here. This is a special, getting to know them from behind the scenes today. But they'll be back soon with their own show, teaching again. And I believe your next guest, you said school?
Teenagers.
That'll be interesting.
I know.
Getting their point of view. But thank you, Jessica Badowski, Lisa
Thanks,
Benson.
Mark.
It was a great show, and we look forward to hearing from you more on the Tucson Business Radio X Network, right here at the Stewart Title Building on Broadway.